it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer. Welcome to the Cinematic Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And myself and my two co-hosts, Luke and Adam. Luke, thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime, Shane.
And Adam.
Ditto, yeah. It's always good to be here.
And each month we pick a film that we're going to talk about representing whatever year in cinematic history, because this is a show where three guys' love for film takes you through the history of cinema. And this month we're talking about 1924. What a year. We're almost 100 years directly in the past. So that's a special episode next episode. But for now, what we do on this show, we give you a little bit of cinematic history lesson, and then we'll dive into our film. The plan is, and I'm just telling Luke and Adam this first, I'm really going to try to find some kind of box office numbers starting our next episode. And then within a couple episodes, we'll have Oscar stuff to talk about too, because the Academy Awards would have started. So there we go. But let's get started with Walt Disney. So, animator Walt Disney for Laugh-O-Gram Films directed his first cartoon, the 12-minute short Alice's Wonderland, aka Alice in Slumberland. It was Disney's first unfinished plot film. The combination live action and animation was never released theatrically, however, due to legal complications. The Alice comedies of the mid-20s, as they were known, were major stepping stones for Disney's career. 56 Alice comedies were produced between 1924 and 1927. The first Alice comedy short to officially be released, produced at Disney's studio in a garage in Hollywood, was Alice's Day at Sea on March 1st, 1924.
Wait, did you say 56 in 3 years? 24 to... Damn.
56 short film comedies released within
I guess
4
shorts,
years.
like, that makes it more, I
Easy.
guess, bearable. But, like, this is why, it's like it's a factory for movies. Like, like Hollywood. Damn.
At a garage.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there just like animating. So this is where it all began for Walt Disney. And these were all directed by Walt Disney, because Walt Disney's not really known for being a director.
Yeah.
Like all of those Disney animated films for Walt Disney Studios were not directed by him. But obviously he's the pulling the strings behind there for the couple of decades that he was in charge. But that's wild. So big step forward. The Fleischer brothers made the first animated film cartoons that featured a soundtrack in a series of 36 films released in the mid-1920s called Coco Song Cartoons, the precursors to karaoke. The first a sound cartoon was one of the song cartoons, Mother Pin a Rose on Me. They were also first audience participation films with sing-along lyrics and a bouncing ball helper. They included Has anybody here seen Kelly? When the Midnight Choo Choo leaves from Alabama? Comin' Though the Rye. Margie, My Old Kentucky Home. Tramp, tramp, tramp. The boys are marching. By the light of the silvery moon, and in my old Kentucky home, Bimbo said to the audience, follow the ball and join in, everybody. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there's absolutely nothing remotely offensive about any of these. There's no chance. And you all can't see me smirking deviously, because there definitely has to be something problematic somewhere in any of these cartoons.
Absolutely.
Just based off of the titles of some of these.
Yeah, like the Bimbo one.
Tramp, tramp, tramp.
Tramp, tramp, tramp. I'm a little worried to look up what Bimbo looks like from this cartoon.
Okay, leave it to me. It's fine.
I did not do the research to actually look that up. We're going out on a limb here. But obviously, this is a very particular point in time for animated shorts to really start booming. Actor turned director Eric von Stroheim directed the influential Greed, his fifth and most ambitious film to date. It was based on Frank Norris's best-selling novel Mr. Teague, about a love triangle and a disputed ownership of a lottery ticket. After filming ended, including expensive on-location shoots in San Francisco and Death Valley, it was a 9 to 10-hour epic. The movie was eventually brutally edited down from 42 reels to approximately 2-hour length before its theatrical release. It was reported that the studio melted down the excise footage to recover the film's stock silver nitrate. Wow.
Wow.
The cuts were demanded by early examples of directorial versus studio conflict. The final cut was disavowed by the director, who insisted on a two-part, 4.5-hour film. The original print of the film has been lost forever. Although there has been repeated rumors of existence, a restored 4-hour version was recently reconstructed in 1999 by Turner Classic Movies and film archivist Rick Schmidlin, using the continuity script he pieced together existing footage and 650 stills and placeholders to create a fuller scene of Stroheim's original film.
Two-part 4.5-hour films, right? Nothing's changed in 100 years, really. Like we've came back to full circle.
Yeah, it is coming back. The long movie is coming back. Yeah.
As long as, look, I always said, as long as you give me the intermission, I'm fine. Like, you make it 4
Yeah.
hours. If you give me intermission someplace in the middle, I'm fine.
That does need to be normalized. Yeah, at least after 90 minutes, let's all go to the toilet and maybe the lobby.
Yeah.
Refill. Come back.
Going to the lobby. Let's go to the lobby.
I only know that song from a Simpsons episode.
Same.
We never had that here in Australia.
Never.
I've only seen it at like old school movie theaters who still play it, which is fun.
Right.
There's a movie theater
Have
called
some
Montgomery
snacks.
Cinemas near Rider University, where I work, that they play those things, and it's
Yeah.
fun. But wow, I love how this is a 10-hour movie about a love triangle and a lottery ticket. Like,
I can't believe you guys never chose that one.
Maybe next time.
I just love how weird romance plots are in old movies. Like, it's so sad today that literally every rom-com has the same exact plot, yet you could go back 100 years and it's like this. Well, just think about like Bringing Up Baby. This this archaeologist, I know, whatever, this paleontologist meets a rich woman, and they have a big jungle
They
cat.
hate each other. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
It's just like this most ridiculous thing. But at least they were fresh and different and interesting.
Yeah, it all changed with It Happened One Night, because It Happened One Night is the first film to have the modern tropes of the romantic comedy. Have you guys seen that? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
It's the original modern rom-com from what, 1939?
I've only seen it like once. Yeah, I've only seen it like once. So like, and it was like a long time ago, but like I really loved it. Even back then, when I wasn't into like a cinema, but I was like, damn, this is very fucking good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Fighting over a lottery ticket. There you go. Theaters showed their first double feature in 1924. Formally bring that back.
Yes.
2-for-1 special.
Do you guys ever have movie marathons? We used to have movie marathons up here where they'd show like 4 or 5 movies and you'd actually stay overnight. Like they'd start at like 11. You still do that?
Yeah.
I don't think they do that here anymore.
They usually
that's how I
do
watch
that
Showgirls and stuff.
for the Oscars here.
Right.
So like I just got my email from AMC that over the course of like 2 Saturdays, they're going to show like one day's 5 Best Picture nominees, and then the next Saturday's 4 of the Best Picture nominees.
I would love that.
The issue is, can you guess which one they don't have?
Amelia Perez.
Amelia Perez, because it's a Netflix original movie.
Duh. Yeah.
So
I was like, why am I not getting this riddle? Oh, yeah, duh, Netflix movie.
Yeah, so if it's a Netflix movie, they can't show them in theaters. So they'll show 9 of them over the course of 2 days. But
I think the
no,
crowd
they
will probably
don't.
be happy with that anyway, right? No? Like that'd be a happier result. Not showing Amelia Perez.
Well, what's crazy, so I was not too off on too much a tangent. Got invited to be involved in like this. Hundreds of people submit ballots for this special Oscars podcast, and I had to rank the 10 Best Picture nominees, and just realizing how much of a gap there was between my 9 and 10 because Amelia Perez is way down there on my list. But anyway, the future MGM studio was formed out of the merger of 3 U.S. film production companies: Marcus Lowe's Metro Pictures Corporation, Goldwyn Pictures Corporation, and known as Metro Goldwyn at the time, and the independent uh Louis B. Mayer Pictures Company. So they all came together, MGM, and was destined to become the dominant studio of Hollywood's golden age during the 1930s under Louis B. Mayer's direction. And now it's an Amazon company.
Yep. It's so weird. So bizarre.
They got that Jeff Bezos money. So they can make movies like Red Notice.
Cinematic masterpiece in Red Notice. You know, those snubbed the Oscars, you mean? Yes.
Well, actually, so this is actually a humongous thing because MGM is one of the most iconic movie studios. Even if they're not a big studio now, because like they were defunct basically until Amazon bought the rights to everything. So like, but you know, if you ask anybody, probably outside of Disney's logo, what's the most famous? Like you have the Disney Castle. Yep. But then the MGM lion is like the movie
I would
logo.
say MGM and the Universal lady, just like, you know, with a torch.
Well, that's Columbia.
Paramount?
Oh, Columbia. No, sorry.
Yep.
Why did I
Which
think
is
it was
a Sony
Universal?
company.
Yes.
The Universal, just the globe.
Yeah, no.
For I love that 90s one where it looks so textured and looks like it's made out of clay.
Yes.
I love when they bring that back. Because now it's just a CGI planet spinning around. I'm just like, okay, Universal. Everything has to be CGI. Shakes fist at sky. The film produced by the newly formed MGM was He Who Gets Slapped, starring Lon Chaney. Although it wasn't their first released film, its release was postponed until the end of the year holiday season to bring in more profits with increased audience, because nothing screams holiday picture like He Who Gets Slapped. He Who Gets Slapped also featured the first appearance of the MGM lion, a lion named Slats. The famous MGM lion roar from a lion named Jackie in the studio's opening logo, however, was first recorded and viewed in White Shadows of the South Seas via a graphophone recording. So the roar didn't happen for like 4 more years, but that lion showed up.
Okay.
Have you guys seen the clip on how they actually filmed that? Like, it was actually a lion with that border around it. Did you know that was real?
Well, I think I've seen older versions of the logo where it's just like, oh, well, that's obviously a lion.
And didn't
yeah.
I don't know if this is like a myth or whether this actually happened, but didn't like the future, like in 40s, 50s, wasn't that directed by Hitchcock? Because there is a famous picture with apparently where he was directing the lion. I don't know if this is just the internet bullshit. So like, I would not bet my life on it. But I've seen a picture where it's like, oh yeah, Hitchcock is directing like the MGM lion, and I'm like,
I didn't know that. Be worth a
but
Google.
again, like obviously the logo and the lion would have probably changed over time. So to me it made sense, but I don't know if that's true really. So maybe I'm spreading fake news.
That's now official headcanon of the Cinematic Wasteland because that sounds cool. But we cannot guarantee that's correct. We did not read that off of filmsites.com. So we're going to keep moving along. The silent propagandist Soviet sci-fi epic Alita aka Alita, Queen of Mars, at 120 minutes, was both the first big budget film made in Russia and the first feature length science fiction film about space travel. Other early sci fi silent films, including Fritz Lang's Metropolis and Women in the Moon and Britain's futuristic High Tension. I'm really wondering if Alita influenced, the graphic novel series, Alita Battle Angel.
I was thinking that. Oh,
It
okay.
could.
Here's the news. Yes, Alfred Hitchcock directed The Roar of Leo the Lion in the MGM intro in 1958.
So maybe it's not just headcanon. Maybe it is actual real cinematic history. So you're all welcome. Thank you, Luke. And then Adam for fact checking. So
I was literally fact checking it as well, but it seemed like it's from a sketch show. So like he directed a lion, but it seems like it's from like Alfred Hitchcock Presents, because apparently that show always started with him some sort of shenanigans, and one of them was like a parody of that. But again, that's on based on one Reddit post I was quickly checking. So I'm like, I'm still.
If it's on Reddit,
it must be true.
Well, can I just back that up by saying this is the AI overview, but underneath that it says there are rumors that Hitchcock actually directed the famous Roaring Lion in Trade for MGM, but that's not true at all. So I'm still none the wiser, to be honest.
AI, not to get on a tangent, but the AI summary many times very wrong. Many times very wrong. Tells you to eat glue and shit. Don't know. I've stopped paying any attention to that. Like Google.
Glue.
No. There was like some famous search. What to do if I'm feeling suicidal, and one of the tips was like, glue might help. I'm like, what? Because it takes it takes answers from Reddit, but obviously it doesn't know. Some of them are jokey, some of them are sarcastic, and AI doesn't know how to differentiate those two. So
there's actually, I found a website, and sorry to keep us on this tangent, but there is a website I'm looking at. It's called Logo Design Love, and it's actually got the history of the MGM logo. No mention of him. Okay, Hitchcock directing Leo. There's the photo there.
No, there's definitely pictures of Hitchcock and lions, right? So there is
kind
something
of assuming. It is assuming that Hitchcock did direct this.
So I think speaking as an American, I think the most American thing any of you can do is find stuff on the internet and make it your truth. So if you want to believe that Hitchcock did indeed direct the MGM Lion, you believe it, because that's what we're allowed to do.
Because the internet says both things, yeah.
As the drag queens always say, this makes sense in my fantasy. Okay.
So the official take of the cinematic Wasteland is, we don't know if it happened, but it could have.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool. It would be cool if that were true. So that's our official take.
Cool. If true, cool. If not, not cool.
Yeah.
Cool story either way. So next up we have F.W. Murnau's The Last Laugh, with revolutionary camera work by the celebrated German cinematographer Karl Freund. Virtually invented a host of new techniques for a mobile camera called the unchained camera. So getting some evolution in filmmaking here. We love dynamic camera work. Which honestly, I think that's one of the things that makes a lot of these old films kind of hard to sit through, is the extremely static camera work. Especially when you're used to, like, look what we can do with cameras.
Yes.
So soon we won't have to worry so much about it. Co-writer and director Walter Summers' silent 60-minute drama Who is the Man, released in the UK. The lost film was British actor John Gielgud's debut film as the character of Daniel, his sole silent role. The complex dramatic tale of a deadly love triangle was based on French writer-actor Louis Renil's successful theater production of Daniel. Well, it sounds like the theme of 1924 is animated shorts and love triangles. So we love to see it. CBC Film Sales Company, founded by brothers Jack and Harry Cohn and Joseph Brandt, officially changed its name to Columbia Pictures Corporation. So not only did we get MGM becoming a studio after a merger, we do now officially get Columbia Pictures. Boom. So is a big year for evolution of what would become the big studio system for decades after this. And now both of them owned by giant tech-ish companies like Amazon and Sony. So there you go. Got two more. American stage and silver screen actress Ethel Barrymore was the first film actress to appear on the cover of Time magazine for the November 10th, 1924 issue. We got celebrities now, guys.
Yeah, she related to Drew. Is that Drew's grandmother?
Right? Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And Lionel, what did she do? And John and
do you have it there? Why? Like, do you have it there? Like, what did she do? Was she so big at the time that that's why she was on the cover? Or
I'm guessing so. Okay. Movies got big enough by 1924 that they're like, shit, we got to put them on Time magazine.
Like, I knew Drew Barrymore is part of this like Hollywood like proper royalty, like effectively Dynasty. This is the ultimate nepo baby. This is the boss of all the nepo babies.
She's like, I think like she's might be like fourth generation Hollywood.
Yeah,
which is wild. So which also, fun fact, I watched This Is the Tom Green documentary yesterday, and they obviously talked about how they were married.
Oh yeah.
So Tom Green is Barrymore. So, and he recently went on to Drew Barrymore's talk show after not seeing each other for 18 years. So there you go. And it seemed like it went fine. So there you go. Amends.
On camera. On camera.
At least Tom Green also said that it was a nice experience getting to see her again. So, but this was Tom Green's documentary and he directed it. So, got to take it with a grain of salt for at least some level. He seems very chill now. He lives on a farm in Canada.
Of course, who doesn't nowadays?
Free weed in Canada, right?
He is Canadian, so there you go.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He is. Yeah, the farm he owns now is like, I think he said 20 minutes from his hometown. So like he's actually Canadian. And if you listen to him in all the interviews, and I'm like, damn, this guy sounds really Canadian. So there you go. But anyway, well, he might be coming back to America. You never know. It could be part of America because nonsense in 2025. But my last bit of history, famous director, actor, producer Thomas H. Ince, known as the father of the Western and founder of the first major film studio at Inceville, a studio mogul, died at the age of 42. Although there was a shroud of mystery surrounding the demise. Ooh, we got some drama now. They saved the best for last. Although initial reports stated he died of a heart attack, it was speculated he was shot aboard wealthy William Randolph Hearst's yacht, the Oneida, somewhere on the Pacific Ocean during a birthday celebration in his honor, and then perished about 48 hours later at his Benedict Canyon, Beverly Hills home. It was thought that Hearst was jealous over affairs being conducted with his own mistress, Marion Davies, and another yacht guest, Charlie Chaplin. Ooh. Rumors about how Ince was shot were rampant, but he probably was an accidental victim, although circumstances appeared to show that Hearst had paid off witnesses to keep silent. This comes a lot from director Peter Bogdanovich's The Cat's Meow, told the tale of this incident.
I've got two questions. First one, what was the name of that boat? What was the name of the boat?
The Oneida?
So wouldn't that be pronounced Wonder? I mean, sorry, this is just
I think I'm missing a joke.
Yeah, the what's that Tom Hanks movie? The Wonders. That thing you do. That thing you do. The band is called The Wonders, but someone pronounced it the Oneidas because that's the way it's spelled.
I didn't see the movie.
So
you haven't seen
I didn't get the reference.
You haven't seen. You have not seen That Thing You Do.
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
Please put that up. I know. That's a great movie.
You know how many good movies I haven't seen?
Next time we pick a classic review, then pick it, and then I'll watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go.
We'll do that.
My second question though was, if you're coming on a podcast with me and you're shocked that I haven't seen a movie, pick the movie and then I have to watch it.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm out of 3 people, I'm the only one that's seen it because it's normally I'm the one that hasn't seen it.
To be fair, I'm always surprised when Shane hasn't seen something. Like it seems like he's seen everything. So for me, I know my I know my gaps, but like for Shane, I don't presume to there are any gaps. Like I presume he's already on his like second rewatch.
The blank looks I got from that joke, and you guys, I'm like, how do they not understand what I'm saying? Nope. Okay, I've spoiled a little bit of the movie for you, but please go and watch it. It'll still be funny. It's such a good movie. Anyway, my second question.
Yeah, go.
Sorry, my second question was, how do you confuse a heart attack for a bullet?
That was my other question.
I don't think there's confusion. If it was a bullet, I don't think it's confusion. Obviously, William Randolph Hearst was a very powerful man.
Yes, of course.
No, the police. So, like, I'm assuming they covered it up.
Awesome.
If that was the case, but our headcanon is this sounds saucy, and we believe that he got shot on a boat.
You mean powerful people cover up stuff? No.
They missed that scene from Citizen Kane.
This because this doesn't sound anything like Natalie Wood or anything,
or Jeffrey Epstein. Yep.
Some conspiracies are fun. This one is 101 years old and nobody involved is around, so we can have some fun with this one. And this affects nobody. So
it's like who was really Shakespeare and who was Jack the Ripper. Stuff we'll never know. It's all speculation.
Are you saying William Shakespeare was Jack the Ripper? We can say that, right?
Could be.
Well, I can say that because according to executive orders done within the past couple of days, free speech is complete and there is no such thing as misinformation or alternative facts.
Thank you, Donald.
There you go.
Woo! He fixed it. He fixed everything as he promised.
There we go. But we're here to talk about The Navigator, which this 59-minute slapstick action comedy adventure is co-directed by Donald Crisp and Buster Keaton, starring Buster Keaton and Catherine McGuire. Buster Keaton as Rolio Treadway. Yeah. What a name.
Was it Rolio? I thought it was Rolo. But that was a cool name either way.
Well, this is a silent film, so we couldn't hear anybody say it. So we just have to interpret it ourselves. There we go. But Luke, how about we start with you, because you're to the left of my screen. So what are your general thoughts on The Navigator?
I really liked it. I thought it was just such a charming movie. Like the first joke that got me into the spirit of this movie was just simple. Do you want to marry me? No. And he just walks off. He's just like, okay. And he just walks away. And I'm like, this is fucking perfect. Like, I'm like, okay. And and there's like 2 or 3 jokes where I genuinely laugh out loud. I'm like, this is so charming. Like, is it the best movie? Probably not, but it's so fucking charming. It seems like, like Buster Keaton. I think this is Buster Keaton at his best, where he's like this, like, I had a hints of like being there, where he's like this, like almost clueless, but also he just knows what he wants. And if somebody rejects him, okay, I'll move along because that's what I do. Because that's, you don't harp on this, so you just move along. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I find it charming.
For you, Adam?
A little bit different. I liked it. I was going to be a little bit down on it, but I think for me, I didn't find myself laughing a lot at this because, and this is not the intent of why we watch these films, but I just found the jokes, I've seen them a million times. The setups were just, because, and that's a shame, because watching this type of thing for the first time, it would have been amazing. I can see that this would have been so original, so brilliant. But looking at it today, it was like the plot was very loosely veiled just to really put Buster Keaton in these situations to make visually humorous scenes. And I think that's what a lot of those movies were like. So absolutely not trying to sound pretentious about it, but it just seemed aged for me because I grew up on Looney Tunes, and I'm like, a lot of these older movies I watch, I kind of see now. I remember back to watching Looney Tunes and going, oh, that's where they got that from. Oh, that's where they got that from. Yep. And that's, and I love Looney Tunes, so I get it. But I have seen it a billion times. So I just didn't. I appreciated it for its brilliance, and it is brilliant. Especially some of the you can see how they're trialing some filming techniques with this. The rocking boat, the underwater stuff was really good. I know, although we've already seen some underwater stuff, but this was really good. I just couldn't gel with it the way I probably should have, and I made sure I watched this in the right mood, in the right time frame, and I was in a good zone to watch it. So just I wasn't one of those ones where I had to be busy and doing something else. I wasn't on my phone, blah blah blah. This one got my full attention.
What about you, Shane?
I enjoyed it a lot. I think obviously like the big crux of Buster Keaton films are like, are you in for this old school slapstick?
Yeah.
And the setups and everything. And this is a precursor. Like, this is still one of his, like, this came out the same year as Sherlock Jr., but like Go West, The General, College, Steamboat Bill Jr., they all came after this. And like, I'm not going to say this is my favorite Buster Keaton film. That's either The General or Steamboat Bill Jr.
Yeah.
And I think just the dynamic nature of his gags and the physical comedy and the stunts grow, obviously, as you grow as a filmmaker and a performer. But I like the conceit of like, this film really feels like an excuse to get two people on this giant ass boat and then try to see what kind of shenanigans they can get up to on this boat. And, you know, they really use the scale of the boat well in terms of like just capturing like them running all over this place.
Good
call. How they utilize different pieces of the boat. I particularly liked once they put, and this is the poster when they put him in his like big ass old school like scuba gear, which like giant metal dome helmet and stuff like that. And like even when he wound up on that island, like coming out of like the ocean, and it just like
scared the natives away.
It's just like it's a monster. It's just like run away. Like those gags worked for me. And like there's a lot of fun gags in this. Did I see this as more than a bunch of excuses to make a bunch of gags? Probably not. But I think there's a little bit more to connect with in some of his other films. But, you know, I like the chemistry between these two characters and the shenanigans that they get up to. It's just, you can't argue with just how inventive he was.
There's also a lot of shenanigans they didn't get up to, which was suspicious because they were on that boat alone for a long time.
It's just like, wait a minute.
What are you suggesting,
set up an entire ecosystem while they were drifting out in the ocean.
But see, this is one of the things I really liked about this movie. So it's like a comedy of errors, right? So like we see him like the first day or like, you know, trying to boil a coffee, trying to make eggs and all that stuff. And then there's a cut. It's implied it's a couple of days. It's not just like overnight because they have everything set up. And I love these kind of movies where it's not just, you know, oh, we're doing gags for sake of gags. There's a setup and there's a like, you know, payoff. And that payoff is, oh, suddenly we have everything on strings and everything has a system, even though the system is convoluted as fuck. And like it works. And it like to me, those are the perfect gags where it's like, oh yeah, they are a bunch of idiots. They, you know, like oh yeah, he doesn't know the boiling egg will be hot, so he, you know, but then he figures it out, right?
See, and to me, no, sorry, I just want to say to me that just felt it wasn't not at all offensive, but it's just like oh, man in kitchen equals dumb. That's what that felt like to me. Like, so I was just like, nah.
I didn't think that like that. I just thought like you know like he coming from a wealthy family because like even the opening scroll says every good tree has its sap and this was him, right? So like coming from a wealthy family, he wouldn't have had to have the need to cook for himself. So I didn't think it was like you know man in the kitchen. I was like, oh yeah, he's a kind of clueless idiot. Like he can tell it in an interaction with a girl. Like you know, oh do you like you know she meets him for the first time or second time. Do you want to marry me? No. Okay. And he just takes his hat, takes his like cane, and walks off. And I'm like,
I'd totally forgotten that point in the opening title card. I had totally forgotten that until you re-mentioned. So that helps. That makes sense for me. Thank you, Luke.
No,
it's funny because it's basically like, I am rich. You are a rich woman. I am rich man.
Let's marry.
I love the fact that he's woke up in the morning and he says, "I want to get married today," and he just goes and taps
like he
someone on
sees
the
the
shoulder.
couple.
Like,
he sees the couple. I know, and like and I feel like there's a point to Buster Keaton to make this setup and like payoff with silence. Like you see the I want to get married, and then you see another shot of him, and then another card today, and it's like oh okay, he just saw like a happy couple there. I want to get married, and not just he wants to get married like in a year. No, today. Like okay, he's that kind of person.
Only a rich person could make that decision. Wake up of a morning before they're coughing. Oh, I'm going to get married today. Like any woman he asks is going to be thrilled to marry him. Like it's
And to your point, Adam, I understand. Yes, we've seen these gags and these setups before, but I think that again just speaks to the genius of like somebody like Keaton and Chaplin, right? They can sell them. Like yes, like have I seen the similar gags before? Yes, I have. Right now they were not new, but they can still sell them. And to me, that's the brilliance. If you tell me a joke that I know, but if you twist it a bit and if you can sell it via your delivery, great. I'll laugh.
Well, I think the reason I've seen them so much is because everyone copied them after that. So that's that in itself explains the brilliance of what they did. I was not at all saying the gags in this aren't brilliant, because they are. You can see how great they are, but I just failed to find them funny because I have seen them a billion times. That's all. But like I said, I've seen them a billion times because they've been aped and replicated over and over again because they are that good.
Well, it's very obvious that Tex Avery watched a lot of Chaplin and Keaton and Lloyd and stuff like that, and just like, well, this is my kind of stuff. But what if animals? and then Looney Tunes were born. So then,
and then in 100 years' time, people are going to say Hundreds of Beavers didn't make me laugh because I've seen it so many times. But Hundreds of Beavers killed me, and that was 100 years after this, and it's a similar type of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain that.
For every year since.
I'm very contrarian, even to myself. It's weird.
No, it's fine. Like it gels with you or not. It like resonates with you or not. That's what art does. Like art is art. It's very subjective.
Well, and I think beyond the slapstick, Luke, I think what you bring up is important. Of like Adam and I were just talking about this not that long ago, literally, talking about like Edgar Wright and the editing,
yes,
and stuff like that. Like that, we're gonna get married
today.
Like that works because you're playing around with, and that's what being able to edit changed filmmaking, because realizing like you can do stuff like that and get a laugh out of it. And I don't think enough comedies leverage the filmmaking aspect of it to get laughs.
Well, that's why Edgar Wright is so popular between film folks, because like he does it perfectly in all his comedies.
And like Buster Keaton not only sold the slapstick, like we get like the silly shenanigans you're doing and the silly things we see in front of us, but also if you can edit this, you can film this to make it pay off in other ways too. And that's what makes a classic comedy. And like I said, this isn't my favorite of his, but like, is this still funnier than like the vast majority of things that probably came out at that time, or even a lot of the comedies that we see today? Yeah, because this is really somebody who understood what he was doing and what the craft of comedy is. And whether it's, them running away from each other, not realizing they were on this boat, and you just get the wide shot of them like running all over the stairs on this boat and running into each other, or, the classic gag of, I don't even know what they're called, like the big pipes that come up.
Oh yeah.
The air vent pipes type thing.
And see, and this is what I'm talking about. That like it's like a setup where they're like chasing each other for like 5 minutes, like a bunch of idiots. So, like even though it's just the two people on one big boat, and then it just finishes like he accidentally stumbles upon the big pipe and and lands right next to her, right? And also we were just to pay you a compliment, Shane, because of your podcast, because of this podcast. I think I appreciated this much more because like what we've been through, like in a previous couple of weeks, right? Like seeing like a static, like, and we touched on in this episode as well, the static camera, and this feels very dynamic. This felt very modern. Like, you have this long distance shots. You have some like, like medium shots. You have quick, nice editing. You have some nice pacing. This like felt very modern, especially like, if I think back compared to like even something like we watched like 5 months ago. Like the quality of directing is like 100 times increased, because like, and like the shot of the boat, I feel like that's a Buster Keaton special. Like, he's got several of his movies where he has like this one long shot and people are just ants like running around or something happens and we have one big static shot. I that's why I really gelled with this movie. I think more than like I would have probably before this podcast. So thank you.
You're welcome. But those conversations is all part of the three of us, having these conversations. But does anybody have anything else they wanted to add about the Navigator?
I wanted to ask you guys, did the General come out after this or before? Because
Yes.
I think the only Buster Keaton I've seen is the General, and I really like the General because it was so inventive with its stunts.
That's it 27, wasn't it?
I think it came out like 3 years after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I never know why I need to make sure, but I just want to make sure because that one I really, really like the General because of its inventiveness and its comedy.
Yeah. This came out the same year as Sherlock Jr., and then all of his other bigger name ones came out after this.
Sherlock Jr. is also great, by the way.
Okay.
Like, that's only like 40 minutes, I want to say. That's also like even shorter than this one. Has a great... Sherlock Jr. is the one that has the great pool scene, right, Shane?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Really? I always surprised when you haven't seen a movie. Like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't, but like, I'm always surprised.
It's on my watch list, so
no, it's great.
But no,
Wasteland watch this coming up for you, Luke.
I've seen Go West. I've seen, well, now the General. I've seen College, and I've seen Steamboat Bill Jr.
Okay, Steamboat Bill is also nice. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, it's very interesting because watching, I keep referencing this Tom Green documentary, they showed where he did his own stunt in Freddy Got Fingered, where he wanted to replicate that stunt with a house falling down and him like being through like the little window so he didn't get crushed. And everybody's like, the insurance is like, hell no. The studio's like, hell no. And he's like, hell yes. And he did it anyway. So, it even influenced Tom Green in like 2002 or whatever the hell when that came out. So that's the power of Buster Keaton. And unfortunately, he didn't make it too far in my tournament this time. I was really impressed. He made it to like the final 8, or was it the final 4 last time? So, maybe someday.
Maybe.
If we do cover Buster Keaton on Welcome to the Wasteland, I know my friend Sue Kate would be super, super, super excited. And she's be like, I'll be on all of them. But that was our discussion of The Navigator. Next month, we're going to be diving into 1925 and talk about The Freshman. So checking off some of our famous comedians of the time on here. But Luke and Adam, thank you both so much for coming on and always talking about movies with me.
Always a blast.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having us. That was a good one.
And thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite Buster Keaton film? Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We're getting new shows and plenty of new guests. You can even check out some of our newest shows. Do you love Tolkien and all of Middle Earth? Well, there's a podcast for you now. And plenty of other interesting shows in terms of music and everything. Obviously, we each have our own shows here, so make sure to check them out. And if you like our logo, this logo for the Cinematic Wasteland was done by my buddy Joe, who actually just opened an Etsy store for some t-shirts for sports logos and stuff like that he's been crafting around. He is a cartoonist and a drawer, so if you are interested, I'm going to shamelessly plug his Etsy right now, which is Clawson, Clawson Street Studios. So there you go. But most importantly, thank all of you for listening. And Thank you, as always, for supporting the Cinematic Wasteland here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network.